Hello everyone, ADV here with another presentation. This time the long-awaited iTeracare Terahertz frequency wand presentation. And I have so much to say about this device. In fact, it's taken me quite a long time to put this presentation together because, it's a newer technology, and I was doing my due diligence, as I will when I'm going to recommend anything to anybody. Maybe you don't know my work or you don't know who I am. I invite you to go to one of my websites, yummy.doctor, and peruse the files and blog articles and videos and so forth. But one of the things I've always done ever since I got into holistic natural health, I want solutions that work. I want to find the product or the technique or the nutritional layout, whatever it is, that actually gets the results. And once I do, you're going to hear about it. You may know me from my work on dimethyl sulfoxide, DMSO. And this was sort of a similar aha feeling to what I had when I realized the power of the medicine of DMSO. And my first viral video was on that topic because I was simply really excited to find something that did so much on one body, because we're all looking for things that are going to be what I call the heavy hitters that really get the job done without having to go to a lot of detail or expense. I'm also a gadget geek. Many of you know that already. I have hydrogen machines, I have Rife machine, Tesla coil machine. I've been using frequency for healing for a long time. And in fact, my very first love and foray into the healing arts was all about vibrational healing. It was medicine using color therapy, using homeopathy, using hands-on healing, using sound therapy, all these sorts of frequency healing, because I understood that we are frequency. And not only that, there's elegant ways of healing the body. And when you realize we're made of this incredible substance that we call water, that is really can be many substances in and of itself, meaning it has many phases, more than we probably even really discovered, you understand that it's the waters of our body that are the fields that allow for the electrical communication to take place. And when you have the corrected water structure, which is a hexagonal H3O2 structure inside your cells, you begin to realize that if we can get to the heart of the matter, if we can structure that exclusion zone water inside the cell, make the mesh network so that the communication is proper, have the bulk water, which sits next to it, run like a battery, which is really how our cells operate, based on electrolytes or that which carries cations and anions or moves the electrical conduit through our bodies. That's all the cell communication that we have. You get fast results and you get healing. And that's what this wand does to your body. And when my own path and my own healing journey began a long time ago, I was vaccine injured. I had dental injuries that have been very painful and debilitating for me. And as I go along on my wounded healer path, I've been finding things that work. It's a fascinating experience that I go through all the time, where I'm having something that I'm suffering with, I'm searching for the answer, and I'm using my intuition and my research skills to find what that is. And then once it's honed inside my body and I go through my own process, then I start to speak about it through my internal, family members and friends. And the way that the mind works and this place works is there's always usually some sort of coincidence, if you want to call it that, where someone has the same condition or a similar condition, and I advise them such. And then this is how we get our experiences going and our clinical evidence coming back. And I've done this with the wand now enough. Not only that, there's thousands and thousands of testimonials on Facebook that attest to the power of this device. And I will continue to learn as we go, of course, but it's time you knew about it, because it's one of those things, just like DMSO, it should be in every household. We don't deserve continual suffering. I think suffering is here for us to learn from and grow through, not to sit in and stay in for very long. And we're meant to grow and change and become something. We have purpose. And there's so many suffering right now. My position on all jabs, they're all poison, they're all death darts. None ever needed, none ever saved a life. And that's truth. And you also may know some of my work on the fraud science called virology, as well. Immunology is one that is also fraudulent science. So what's happened is the misunderstanding of our body has taken hold hundreds of years ago, and those rumors and false science have been put through into our scholastic systems, and the end result are ignorant, hurtful doctors that don't know what they're doing for the most part, and are causing a lot of harm and don't understand that this elegant connected system is a frequency machine and runs like a battery. And all we really need to do here is apply the healing appropriately, put the nutrition in, take the toxins out. There's nothing in this world as they describe as far as what they're calling a virus. That is a complete and utter hoax. And if you're interested in learning about the false germ theory and how the body really works, then you can head over to yummy.doctor and learn all about it. And there's more and more people like myself who understand the terrain, teaching about it and helping you navigate the real scientific material, because those materials are really bad science. And we need to be able to clearly read studies or understand what's being done in the studies, rather than just some sort of label like, oh, science says or scientists say, which is what happens all the time in the mainstream news, which is all propaganda and pushing agendas. And we're moving past this now. It's time. Okay, we're at the great time of the great reveal. We're seeing truths. We're seeing who are the good guys and the bad guys, who are the ones who are going to stay asleep, who are the ones who have already woke up long ago, like myself. Year 2000 was my really big wake up, and who are slowly starting to wake up through all of the scams that have been going on the last 3 years, and will continue with fake climate change. And one of the things that people don't understand is that this entire place has been inverted, and we've been lied to about just about everything. That is just a preface of the understanding of where I come from, and why I'm saying this is because what I'm seeing, or what I think the social engineering is doing right now, is making people very, very critical, because so much has happened that doesn't make sense in their lives. That what happens, as a child, the child will always point out a boo-boo or something wrong, because they know they feel how things are supposed to be. And when something's out of order, they want to notice that. And it's really, the idea is to make the correction. But the problem that we're having now is we're just using criticism more like attacks, and also more like blowing off our own stress and putting it onto others. That's called transference, instead of actually looking at the self, at the disappointments, and looking towards solutions. And I'm very solution oriented. I will obviously look to see where the errors are, or where the complaints are, or where the issues are. But the point to do that is to correct. What happens is a lot of people say, oh, well, this is from China, so it's got to be a scam. Or they'll say things that have no bearing in any evidence or knowledge, which is a very bad habit that I hope people will start to see if they do it, and break that habit, which is really continually attacking and judging others without information to go with it. So it's just ignorance. And we don't need to be there. We need to lift ourselves. We need to do the work that we can understand when things are good or when they're scams. I totally understand that the climate out there has been made doubtful for you. Everything is doubt. Everything's being questioned. Everything's being turned over. And that's totally fine. But you can't throw everything in the garbage. So you're going to have to bring some things back into your life that are true. And you're going to have to be able to tune your intuition to know that. As a professional, I would never, ever come out and talk about something that didn't produce serious results. I would certainly not be excited about anything that didn't do that. I'm putting my name and my reputation behind something. Why would I just come out and just put it out there? I'm interested in people being self-empowered, understanding that they can take control of their own health, their own life, and promote medical freedom, freedom of choice. And also that there are really cool inventions and things that we already probably had that knowledge and awareness, and we're bringing it through now, and we're refining it, and it's coming to light, and it's here. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled about what I'm going to present for you today. There are a lot of injuries that are finding a lot of success using the wand. To know that there's something easy for people who are really in, not a good place to just grab and begin to work with is really something that I feel I can present and I can help people find using my voice. I'm really hoping that people will hear what I'm saying and understand the power in this particular device. I will show you now it in the box. This is actually the first model of the iTeracare Classic wand. The new ones that you would get now are actually separated into two pieces in a different box system. It's an updated version. So it comes in your little box here, and this is what it looks like. Now, this piece does twist and come off. There's a crystal in the tube here. Plug this into the wall. They do have 3 types of styles, so if you're going to use it as a professional. So that's what it looks like. It is a blower, meaning it sounds like a hairdryer when you put it on. And when I first found out about this thing, my friend told me about it, and I trust her. And I said, oh, I love gadgets. Oh, it's only $350. It's $385 US if you're buying from Canada. I said, that's fine. I'm getting this. I have to try it because I felt something. My intuition was just going for it. There's a whole technique how you're supposed to do it. You're not supposed to just blast yourself with it because you go through detox and you don't want to put yourself into that position. So you need to start really slowly using the device. My own healing has been tremendous. I normally will have migraines twice a month. I've gotten them down to with, many other things that I've been doing. This is the first month that I've had no migraines at all. I'm thrilled. Sleep is improved, mood is improved, skin is improved. It's like a hair dryer because you can actually use it like a hair dryer. You can dry hair with it legitimately, and a lot of people do. And it's a bit loud, so I actually put earplugs in when I use it. The higher models are less noisy. I didn't think a blowy thing was going to produce results like it has. It is really quite something, and we'll go into the technology of it now. All right, here we are. The benefits and uses of terahertz frequencies for health and wellness by moi. And this is a company called Prife, the iTeracare Lightwave Terahertz wand. It was invented in China by a brilliant man. The R&D took a long time, and the first models were very, very expensive. So this is essentially what information you get if you purchase one, telling you, just the basics on how to use it. This is opening your points: palm, sole, backbone, so going down the back, top of the head, upper back, neck on the side, armpit, your buttocks, the groin area, and around the knees. And you drink 2 glasses of warm water that's been blown, ideally beforehand and afterward, to flush everything that you're moving through, because you will detox from this. And these are points, either they're acupuncture points or they are lymph nodes that you're stimulating, and you're really only doing 2 to 3 minutes on each part of the body with a distance about 6 inches in an anti-clockwise direction. Now, I've done it all kinds of directions and I'm still getting the effects, but especially at the beginning, it's important to start this routine because you're going to have less side effects by doing this. So some of the benefits they say in this trifold here: relieves all kinds of pain caused by muscle stiffness, stiff shoulders, spondylosis, muscle strain, reduces fatigue, improves sleep, improves varicose veins. Oh, lots of testimonies on varicose veins, which can be very stubborn to treat. Blood stasis, relieves eczema, insect bites, itchiness, skin problems. So acne as well. Have a lot of people really happy about their acne clearing up. Strengthens metabolism, improves microcirculation, relieves prostatitis inflammation, relieves gastrointestinal problems. What this little part down here is saying that 30 to 40 minute session on the wand is equivalent to about 10 acupuncture sessions, 20 cupping sessions, 30 gua sha sessions, or 40 massages. That's sort of how they're lining it up. And here are the 3 types of wands that you can get with a range of prices. Let's get into the science of it right now. Terahertz radiation is generally defined as the region of the electromagnetic spectrum in the range of 100 gigahertz, which is 3 millimeters, to 10 terahertz, 30 micrometers, which is between the millimeter and infrared frequencies. The terahertz band has been called by several names, such as submillimeter or far infrared and near millimeter wave. At 1 terahertz, the radiated signal has the following characteristics. The wavelength is 300 micrometers in free space. Photon energy is 4.14 mega electron volt. That means it's 1 million volts. Terahertz photons have very low energy, which means they will not cause tissue ionization or damage, which is where radiation gives us problems. So here's a picture of our UV band here, the radio microwave on the left and the ultraviolet on the right. So the red to purple spectrum here. And then here's your THZ, so that's terahertz, that's the abbreviated form, gap. In between, so this millimeter wave here and the infrared is on the right, and it fits snugly right at the 300 micrometer phase here, or 10 to the 12th part. And you can see the frequency above of how tight the frequency is, how the rise is on the frequency. The penetration is, the wavelength radiation is longer than the infrared. That means the THZ waves have less scattering and better penetration depths. Safety, the terahertz radiation is non-ionizing, so ionizing radiation can be harmful. Ionizing radiation also can be more severe, and they'll even do it in some therapies, but it's really destructive to tissue. Non-ionizing radiation is any kind of radiation in the electromagnetic spectrum that does not have enough energy to remove an electron from an atom and turn it to an ion. So that's the definition. If that radiation hits a molecule and can rip the electron basically from it, break the bond, and make an ion out of it, that's called ionizing radiation. And this is non-ionizing. It will not do that. Water molecules resonate in this range. Water readily absorbs these frequencies. And this is one of the reasons why we wand the water, because you're changing the structure of the water. You're structuring the water with the terahertz frequencies, and then you're drinking, ingesting the water, and that is going into your cells and tissues. And it's very beneficial also to do that for your animals. You can also wand bath water if you have a child that has some issues, you can do that ahead of time. For children, I do recommend very little direct wanding and instead use water as the transference for the terahertz frequencies. So this is the technology. Femtosecond near-infrared laser pulses are converted into broadband THZ radiation using a semiconductor crystal or multiple, leading to ultra-fast transport of electrons at a semiconductor surface. So that's what's happening with the wand. You're having a semiconductor and you're having this ultra-fast transport through the blowing, this movement of electrons across the crystal that is basically converting these laser pulses into terahertz, the terahertz frequency. And also it's very delicate, the wand. I mean, it's not that delicate, but you don't want to drop it. It has a wide application in wireless transmission, spectroscopy, imaging, and many other industries. And it's only been focused on over the last 30 years. So it's fairly new. And obviously it started looking, so when I started looking for studies, they were talking a lot about how they're using it for imaging purposes as a more safe alternative. If you go to the hospital, you need imaging instead of an MRI, that sort of thing, you get this sort of scan. For neurological conditions, the nervous system is more vulnerable to exogenous stimuli of THZ waves due to its bioelectric basis of functional activity. So, for example, Rukov et al. Treated patients with acute ischemia stroke using infrared radiation modulated by the terahertz frequencies. Terahertz waves were used to stimulate the acupuncture point, so that's the one on the top of the head, which is one of the most critical areas for regulating neurovascular activity. That's from Wang et al. From 2014. Patients in the terahertz group regained consciousness and resolved neurological symptoms faster than those in the control group. Terahertz radiation can affect the central nervous system and enhance behavioral performance. And this is also, we're seeing a lot of people with maybe some severe health conditions and also maybe feeling mentally depressed because of the situation, or have anxiety disorders and things that go along with that. And they're finding relief from the wand in the way that they feel. So their depression is lifting, they feel a little better in their mood, and they feel like they can go on and continue their healing in a more positive mindset, which is interesting. But this is some of the logic behind that it affects the central nervous system directly, and it is regulating neurovascular activity as well, which also can help with recovery from stroke. Help for Alzheimer's, traumatic brain injury, and myelin deficiency. So amyloid aggregation and neurofibrillary tangles play a key role in Alzheimer's disease in terms of neurodegeneration. Increased frequency uptake of terahertz was evidenced compared to normal tissue, indicating usage and modulation. So this is a study for Alzheimer's trying to see if the terahertz frequency actually affected the neurofibrillary tangles, which is basically part of the neurodegeneration in the brain. And they did notice a usage and modulation of the tissue. So the tissue was uptaking the frequency and utilizing the frequency. So here's another study, effects on nerve cells. Low power THz radiation significantly promoted and improved nerve cell survival. There's various thermal and non-thermal effects from these frequencies depending on multiple factors. The organism's microenvironment, including water content, acid-base balance, energy metabolism. With the wand, there are multiple heat and cool settings available. So there are 3 settings on the classic wand, and the first setting is, in my model is, which I think they changed in the other model, is the high pressure but low heat. So it's a full blower with low heat, and you can put it more close to your body when it's not as hot. Then the second setting is a cool but low frequency, not as blowy. It's not as strong of a blower. So that's a really good one where you wand your water, because then it won't blow the water out of your vessel, which you don't want. And the last is the high setting, which is very hot, which I like because we're in winter and I get to warm up with it. So it's also a nice little warming bonus. So they're just saying that there are lots of different thermal effects coming along with this too. So there's different rationales for applying, the heat settings rather than the cool settings. But mostly I use the higher heat settings unless I'm working closer to the body or trying to do something pinpointed. Regulating the transport of specific compounds and affecting membrane permeability. This means energy is given to the cell to remove waste and intake essential cofactors. Glial cell repair. So consider glioblastoma in this situation. So glial cells are characterized by high density of proteins associated with ion channels at the cell membrane surface. Terahertz radiation was used to irradiate rat glial cells. Depolarization of the plasma membrane, lysosomal, and mitochondrial membranes caused conformational changes in membrane ion channel proteins, affecting intracellular environmental homeostasis and resulting in the release of apoptotic proteins from mitochondria and proteolytic enzymes from lysozymes. I actually contest the whole ion channel discussion. I don't think that's how it works. But what I do understand is that when you change the membrane potential, you're changing the way that or allowing for other vesicles to come in and out of the cell. And because everything is run on frequency, when you depolarize, now you're allowing something that might have a negative charge to come in, and that might be the thing that comes and grabs or eats the waste or removes them. Improving oxygen delivery in the brain by increasing blood oxygen volume, promoting neuronal rejuvenation are all possible underlying mechanisms for the beneficial outcomes of the terahertz radiation therapy. And this is a study that goes through it. And I will make sure you get links if you want to read the study from head to toe. But they were proposing that this is one of the reasons why there's a lot of rejuvenation that's happening. It's allowing for better oxygen delivery to the tissues. And we know that that's vitally important. And that's why we don't mask ourselves, right, kids? Because oxygen's important for life. And carbon dioxide is our waste that comes out of us and feeds the plant kingdom while they make oxygen for us. It's really science 101. This is the fact of the matter. And these ones upregulate the oxygen delivery to tissues. Effects on nitrous oxide or nitrogen oxides. In vivo, so that's in the living body, nitrogen oxides can be resonant with these waves, with terahertz waves, which Resonant means that they resonate together, so they dance together. They can be affected by one another. Nitrogen oxides can regulate physiological, pathophysiological, and biochemical processes, meaning it's a heavy player in the body. It does a lot because it's really responsible for opening the vessels, relaxing the muscles of the vessel walls, and allowing for better blood flow, which would have a huge impact on all of these different biochemical, physiological, pathophysiological aspects. Proper function of nitrogen oxides in the body assists proper blood flow via relaxation of blood vessel walls, as I said. Migraines, erectile dysfunction, varicose veins, pain syndromes due to blood stagnation, eye health, all are greatly affected. Even dental health, even though it dries out your mouth, you can actually put the blower there and do the teeth, and it will assist cavities, gingivitis, all sorts of things. You just have to do wand on the outside of the face as well, and not do too much of that so that you don't, dry out your mouth too much. Water bending. The frequency domain of terahertz waves contain the stretching and bending vibration modes of hydrogen bonding between water molecules. THZ radiation primarily interacts with hydrogen bonds in biomolecules, creating low frequency intramolecular vibrations that cause protein structural changes. Terahertz radiation has an energy scale that is close to that of hydrogen bonds, so it is thought that such a non-ionizing electromagnetic field can have a significant impact on cells and biomolecules. Interesting with the hydrogen, because that is what determines how the water structures itself. It's the bendiness of water that makes it special, that it's able to add or remove a hydrogen or not, depending on how it wants to structure itself with its neighbor molecules. And the fact that this allows for or adds to the stretchy and bendiness or flexibility of the hydrogen bonds between the water molecules, that it's within that range, that means it affects those bonds in the water. That to me is the suggestion. This piece of science suggests to me this is the evidence, or some of the evidence, that the water is being structured or altered by the wand. And same in your body. So in the drinking water and in your body, the hydrogen bonds are being limbered up. And that means good news for your easy water zones, your exclusion water zones, your hexagonal water mesh network that needs to be there for you to be alive and to be healthy and vital and clean up your system with ease. Because I feel like we've fallen away by our lifestyles, by the propaganda, by all the drugs and vaccines that have damaged us. We've lost footing here in our advancement of what we really can be and who we really are and our abilities. We're just on the precipice of remembering, and hopefully we can remember and get ourselves out of this mess. The fact that this will affect the water, and we understand that domain, that frequency domain, is matching or vibrating hydrogen, is a very big clue and very important in understanding the water structuring that it gives. DNA repair, a mathematical model of DNA respiration, which is metabolic pathways, predicted that the terahertz radiation can affect gene expression and DNA replication. This is a study, there's a few studies here. Non-thermal effects can change protein conformation. That's Borokova in 2017. Influence DNA double chain stability. That's Alexandrov, 2010. Change membrane permeability and generate acute inflammatory reactions, therefore impacting the morphology and structure of neurons and inducing apoptosis. So there's a lot going on here. Changing protein conformation. That's not from heat. That is from the frequency itself, can affect protein conformation, can influence DNA double chain stability. We're still understanding DNA. We don't really understand. I take some of these studies with a grain of salt. They're not looking at direct effects, or they're studying, so they're getting secondary, tertiary effects and making those deductions. But they're seeing that even damaged DNA is repairing, which is really big news, because there's not a lot of things that can go to that level of the cell and correct DNA damage. We'll see like MTHFR mutations. There's all sorts of various problems from usually vaccines. I mean, if we just got rid of those, we'd be way further along, but here we are. still poisoning ourselves, still thinking it's good, even though it's complete fraud and has been proven so for a long time. And even since the beginning, it was proven fraud, but big interest, big money won out. Changing membrane permeability as well, which we've sort of covered in another study, because we understand that it does that to allow the lysozymes in and get the junk out of the cell and generate these acute inflammatory reactions. And you want that because it's the inflammatory reaction that really opens up the tissues and allows your mediators in and out. If the door's locked, nothing's going to get through. But if you're allowed to have some permeability through the inflammatory process, then you have communication and you have mode of action. You have the removal of the wastes, right? Which is really what health is. Health is nutrition in, wastes out. There's your disease state. If you don't have enough nutrition in your body and you have too many wastes in your body, you're going to be sick. If you can get the wastes out, great, but that takes nutrition as well. And so I usually recommend with the wand to make sure your diet is correct. Make sure you're also supporting your other organ systems, especially the liver. If you want to avoid some of the uncomfortable detox effects, make sure you're using a lot of magnesium, topical and internal. That will help a lot as you're going through and using the wand. I've been using it with DMSO with great results as well. Applying something first on the skin, like castor oil, and then doing the blowing on it. So we're at just the beginning stages of experimenting with all different types of combined therapies. And as much as, I just want to say, as much as this is an incredible device, and I still can't get over how versatile it is, and that everyone seems to have benefits by its use. Don't ever look at anything as a cure-all. Don't ever look at anything like, oh, it's a miracle, it's going to solve all my life's problems or whatever. That's not realistic. You still want to get the lessons out of what you've experienced so you don't have it come again, for one. But don't treat it like that. Treat it as any tool that you're bringing in for your healing benefit, that you're looking at understanding why you got into that state in the first place, and you're allowing it to get you to a better position, so then you can reassess your situation again and take the healing to deeper and deeper levels. Because I think the mindset with pill pushers have been like, here, just take this drug and all will be well. Your symptoms will be suppressed, which makes the illusion that they go away, which they don't. They just go deeper. But they do that, and they've trained us to think that it's just easy, like just take a pill, the end, right? So don't treat it like that. Treat it like you're blessed. We're blessed that this is here. We know that it's a tool for our healing, and we're going to use it with wisdom. As much as you want just to magically go away, I get it. You want to be out of pain. I totally understand. I want you to be out of pain too. But the best thing is just to understand this is a healing tool that has a lot of power and a lot of applications, and it will give you a lot of results. But if someone's on their deathbed, it's not going to bring them back from the brink of death. It's probably going to make them more comfortable to go through the death process. They're going to probably become more lucid. We've heard testimonies exactly like that, where they were struggling and suffering on their deathbed, but this allowed them to have a more peaceful crossing over. Skin cancer and psoriasis, very important for psoriasis. I know a lot of psoriasis sufferers. They tried all kinds of things. It's a liver problem ultimately. So you still want to deal with the liver. You still want to heal the liver. You don't want to give up on that just because you have a wand. You want to make sure that you're also treating the underlying cause and working it through and ensuring that all your nutritional needs are being met. But this wand has been incredible for psoriasis sufferers and people with skin cancer, or something they've had on their skin for ages that just wouldn't go away, or they've had for like 6-7 years, and they were going to maybe go to dermatologist, get it burnt off or something, is gone and quickly from a couple of different wanding sessions, and then it's gone. That's quite a rapid effect. Intense terahertz pulses downregulate genes associated with skin cancer and psoriasis. A new therapeutic avenue, ? This is a Nature article that talks about why are these genes downregulating. Well, why would they downregulate? Your body doesn't need to put in that effort for containment anymore. Why do you need to contain with the toxins with a tumor anymore, or damaged tissue anymore? You don't. Now it's going the other way. It's opening and it's allowing, and you're actually getting it out. You're getting roots to remove the toxins, the waste, the damaged cells, the necrotic tissue, etc. It would make sense that those genes would downregulate. In nearly all the genes differentially expressed by exposure to intense terahertz pulses, the induced changes in transcription levels are opposite to disease-related changes. The ability of intense terahertz pulses to cause concerted favorable changes in the expression of multiple genes implicated in inflammatory skin diseases and skin cancer suggests potential therapeutic applications of intense terahertz pulses. This was just an excerpt out of that article. They were seeing a lot of disease-related changes. Basically, they're saying it's healing disease. Cancer therapy. KEGG signaling pathway analysis showed that the differential genes mainly affected the PPAR signaling pathway, cancer-related signaling pathway, and calcium ion signaling pathway. Autophagy, oxidative stress, cell inflammation, and cell apoptosis may be influenced during terahertz radiation. Apoptotic is programmed cell death, apoptosis, and that is when it decides that cell has to go and be engulfed and get out of here because it's not working properly. And this, the terahertz frequencies upregulate those mechanisms. And that's really good news for all sorts of cancer cells or cancer conditions where you have tumor growth, or whether it's benign or malignant. That means it's going to upregulate the lysozymal activity, which basically contains hydrogen peroxide and can come and denature some wastes, like a proteinaceous waste or something that shouldn't be in the body, and remove it efficiently. So it's upregulating that. This is a piece of evidence that it upregulates the detoxification aspect at the cellular level when it comes to engulfing wastes. Okay, increasing oxygen delivery. Improving oxygen delivery, huge implications for cancer therapy. It'd be very fascinating if someone's, already going to an oncologist or in the midst of some sort of poison, which is radiation and chemo, and they have labs, they have the data, and then they begin this process and continue with follow-up labs. Those would make really great case studies to see lab numbers begin to change. Eye health. Highly differentiated neuroepithelial cells make up the photoreceptor cells in the retina's outer layer. Lou et al. Irradiated retinal tissues of these mice with terahertz wave and RNA seq technique analysis revealed 625 upregulated and 9 downregulated genes. There are many reports of healed eyesight using the iTeracare device. So this again is signaling to the pathways along. We've got this is now, we've got the energy in the cells to begin the healing, because a lot of people don't understand that this body is self-healing. It was designed to self-heal, and it was made perfect. And if we allow for that, if we support those self-healing mechanisms, it will complete the job. People will say, oh, you can't heal from that. That's you'll have this forever for your life. Doctors say it all the time. You'll be with this condition for life. No, that's a lie. Just throw that away. You do not have to have these conditions for life. I would just say once the tissue is past a certain point of degrading and it's into scar tissue, it can take a lot longer time. And sometimes if the neurodegeneration has gone too far, you can only come back so much. So there is usually a point of no return where you can't return from, but those are really far gone cases. But this is showing that it's downregulating the activities that are causing a lot of the continued, walling off of the problem, and now actually getting to the problem. THC effect on neurotransmitters. By the way, I have different thoughts on the neurotransmitter theories. I think a lot of these are still theories, but they are getting some evidence, inside that theory that neurotransmitters are being affected by terahertz. Now, I know we have these molecules. My argument is how much or of a role they play in certain types of diseases. Neurotransmitters are important mediators of information transmission that control basic physiological functions in humans. As a result, further research into the generation and transmission mechanisms of neurotransmitters by terahertz radiation is required. Well, they always say that. I put that in there because every frickin' study will always say more research is needed, because of course they want to keep their jobs, so they're going to keep saying more is needed, aren't they? In terms of neurotransmitter metabolisms, 4 rat brain regions, hippocampus, cerebral cortex, cerebellum, and brainstem, and 3 types of neuron-like cells, I'm not naming them all, showed significant changes in neurotransmitter content after radiations of 2 different terahertz parameters. And that was from 10 et al. From 2019, so a bit more recent of a study. So they did find the content of the neurotransmitters were changing. Okay, we're getting into protocols now. To wrap up here, and I could go on, there's more studies, there's more information. But my point here is that we have very powerful changes, tissue changes, chemical changes, and outcomes of terahertz frequencies on cells. And if you look at the clinical data of the usage, all the outcomes so far we've seen are positive, albeit some of the contraindications, which we'll get through. That means they're positive changes, they're healing the tissue, they're regulating the metabolism, they're allowing for detox mechanisms to pick up the slack, and they're improving the energy and life force of the individual or animal. A lot of people use these on their animals with great results as well. Okay, so this is how to use the Prife TeraCare Lightwave terahertz wand for maximum benefit, proper procedures and protocols. The way this company works is like an MLM sort of structures a business that I was never interested in at all, and never really did much with any of those structures because I just thought they're too pyramid schemey and something's off about it. But I do understand the whole model has evolved over the years where it's not like that. Like you can still just buy one. You don't have to be part of the business model. But as a result, you can't just buy them online. You can't just buy them on Amazon or whatever. And there are knockoffs out there. So you have to be careful not to get some kind of cheap wand that could, I mean, potentially be dangerous if they don't have the specs in the correct frequency range, because there are some terahertz frequencies that will do damage as well. It's a very narrow band in the terahertz frequency set that is the healing aspect. The rest can be used for all kinds of other aspects in medical systems, but not for the body. So I wouldn't trust a kind of a cheapo one. I wouldn't go cheap with this. If you're interested in selling them, because what ends up happening is you have one, you can't wait to tell people about it, then you don't want to lend it out and they want to buy one and you're trying to figure out how, and it's through their back office system, which I found kind of a really steep learning curve, but sorted it out. But there is a Google Docs that will come with it. So when you buy one, we set up an account for you, and that account will expire, I believe, in 28 days. And you can buy through that account. And if you want to top it up, because they have a monthly fee to keep the membership going, it's nominal, then you can actually run it as a business. And I don't see any problem with it. I looked at it closely. It seems fine for people to make some side profit. And I still think the prices are lower than what they're worth. My complaint of a lot of these companies is they had to charge crazy prices for their stuff. And they also made you buy all this stuff all the time, and it was just not sustainable. But this has nothing to do with that. And it's a product you want, and it's a product that everybody else tends to want once they see the results. It is a real easy business model to go through if you're interested in that. Okay, so this is the basic technique. You're going to use the device vertically on your body within a distance of 3 to 4 centimeters, and you go at the speed you find best for you. 15 to 20 minutes on small areas and 30 to 40 minutes on the whole body. And you can choose different organ systems to use, and it depends on your condition. For example, I want to use on my lymph. I use it on my neck where I get lymph issues. I use it on the back of my knee and my legs, my lower legs, where I would sometimes get a lot of lymph congestion. And I would use it over my liver or over my face as well, where I would get the sinus starting into migraine. I'm concentrating on areas that are important for me, and you will want to concentrate on areas that are important for you. But that's about the timeline. They've made some suggestions. So these are just wanding regions. For the flu, for a fever below 38.5. So you don't want to really wand with, because it adds heat to the body when you're in acutes, and we'll get to that. When you're in a real acute situation, you don't want to use the wand. You can drink wanded water, but in an acute accident, bleeding, severe fever, that sort of thing, you don't want. Under this 38.5 degrees Celsius, 101.3 Fahrenheit, use the basic technique: back, chest, head, face, and feet. For sore throat, the basic technique, which we showed you, right, all the points, and then focus on the neck area. Coughing, focus on neck and shoulders. with the basic technique is to start toothache, same thing. They say focus on the limbs and the stomach if you have a toothache, but I would also do around the face area and even in the mouth. Knee discomfort, basic technique plus focus on the knee, liver, and spleen area. And these are all because of the meridians that lead to those areas. And you want to activate and open those meridians, and that will assist the flow of ions through the channels. Basic technique plus focus on the face, liver, and spleen area as well. High blood pressure, you'd use the basic technique, focus on the liver, spleen, limbs, and feet area. Low blood pressure, basic technique, short amount of time is recommended, whole body for 10 to 15 minutes. For myocardial infarction, they spelled it wrong. They said infraction. Basic technique plus focus on the liver, spleen, limbs, feet, and chest area. Cerebral infarction, hemiplegia, basic technique and focus on the liver, spleen, head, limbs, and feet area. Burns, circular motion around the burn area, only on cool setting, please. Lipoma, basic technique and focus on the liver, spleen, and kneaded area. So you kind of get the idea. They've got more. Diabetes, basic technique, focus on limbs, feet, liver, and spleen. Psoriasis is the basic technique, and then you can just wand over the skin for 20-30 minutes. Gynecological diseases or inconsistent menstrual cycle. There's a lot of testimonies about menstruation coming normal. Even my own case, surprise, you have your period, because usually I'll know that it's coming because of how I feel. I usually get a migraine. I usually have cramps, a little bit of cramping, not much. A lot of people say, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about my cycle. And then it came and I didn't even notice, because normally I get breast tenderness or normally I'm moody or whatever. Nothing. Basic technique and focus on the back, abdomen, liver, spleen, and uterus area. Runny nose or phlegm, basic technique, focus on lung. Obesity, menopause, cramps, basic technique plus focus on the back, chest, liver, spleen, and abdomen area. Hearing problems, insomnia, basic technique, focus on the back, liver, spleen, and head area. Short-sightedness, yes, it improves your eyesight, if you can believe that. Basic technique and focus on the back, liver, and eye area. Rheumatism, throat area, technique, and the back, liver, and spleen area. And then beauty effect. There are women's faces in the iTeracare frequency testimonial group that's on Facebook. They'll do before, middle, after pictures of just wanting and how their face changes and how they have like a lot of saggy skin or double chins or, you know, just droopy eyes or bags in the eyes or like hooded eyes and all this kind of stuff. And it just, their face just brightens up. It just lightens their whole visage and less wrinkles, less dry skin. It's a beauty tool as well. From the chin, move upwards, use the other hand to massage the chin for 5 and 10 minutes. Okay, this is sort of a weird slide that's obviously been translated from Chinese. In the Google Docs, all of these are there for you. One thing I noticed with the wand, I guess they're going paperless everywhere, but there's no manual. Like it doesn't come with a manual. I'm like, where's the manual? But it's all in the Google Docs back office. It's all, so when you order it, we just give you all that stuff. There wasn't much to it other than don't drop it, don't get it wet, you know, some basic rules. Don't overheat it, give breaks on the heat setting, and then some rules about plugs. It should go direct in a wall, not in an extension cord, ideally. This is part of the documentation that you get. There's just saying not to do a lot of cold stuff. So after you've done it, don't drink icy cold water, or don't do your Wim Hof method that day or right after kind of thing. 4 hours really is a process that's happening in your body, and you don't want to, you know, if you can help it. This is just being perfectionist. You can still get away with it, even if you do drink some cold water, I think. That's my feeling on it. And yes, the treatment usually depends on the severity of the sickness condition. For those with a weaker body, it's recommended to do the treatment for a shorter time than normal. Before and after treatment, drink a glass of warm, charged terahertz water. When the treatment is working, you'll see slight soreness, visible redness, crystals, blisters on the treated area. These are ordinary symptoms. Be aware. You might feel a bit worse before you feel better. You might have more expression on the skin before it goes, because that's all toxins that are going to come out. For me, I was a little bit, when I first started, I definitely felt tired the first day. I slept like a baby though, but I felt like I needed sleep. Oh yeah, I had like just a bumpy rash. I have a bit of a shoulder issue, and from an old injury, chopping wood. And I was wanding here, and all of a sudden, well, the next morning, I had all these little bumpies like Polaris all over. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. And I realized there's some stuff coming out. So I just used my lotions and creams, my DMSO creams, and continue on. And now the skin is perfect. The skin is soft. Just know that sometimes it can get a little bit more of an expression, and just ride through it and make sure that you're supporting yourself properly through it. Okay, we've already been through these. This is the blowing pattern. Any order is fine. So I just go for it. Again, those are your palm, sole, top of head, elbow pit, armpit, knee, groin, neck, and back is called the Du Mai governing vessel in Chinese medicine, and the front, Ren Mai, is a conception vessel. And so you're basically just blowing down the body, blowing behind the body. You might need someone to help you for the back. Okay, let's get into contraindications. Not recommended for pregnancy or while you're on your menses because of the heat that it gives, and of course the upregulation of all the cells dividing, removing waste and so forth. You never want to detox when you're pregnant. You just don't. You're supposed to detox before you get pregnant. Okay, for anyone who's thinking about getting pregnant, just do at least a year of detox. That's what I did before I got pregnant. Well, I was already very clean eating and clean lifestyle, but coffee got thrown out, anything I thought was okay or okay enough. No, I got rid of all of that. So you could probably get away with drinking some wanted water. That would be the limit to that while pregnant. Acute conditions like I touched on, it's not the appropriate place. You got a broken bone, you're gonna have to deal with the broken bone. You can't just go, oh, my wand, I'll just wand that broken bone away. No, you're gonna have to get that checked out. People are having heart attacks and strokes. It's for aftercare. It's not really for the moment, although I would still give wanted water in an acute situation. I just wouldn't wand directly. Or bleeding, when you're actively bleeding, you're not going to go get the wand out. I mean, a lot of these make sense, but like acute colds and flus, which is the beginning part of your detox, you don't want to add more into the body and say detox more. You're already detoxing. Now just support the detox and finish off your cold and flu detox, which is all cold and flu is. Then nourish yourself and then begin the rest of the cleansing process. Heart attack, stroke, implants, metal, pacemakers. If you have an implant that's metal, if you have a pacemaker, I think someone with a pacemaker can drink the water and wand some of the extraneous points, but far away from the heart region. And the metal will heat up. Metal in your mouth, metal in your knee, wherever. Just stay away from those areas. You can wand elsewhere and you can always use the charged water, but don't go directly over those areas. And then open wounds. It's not appropriate for open wounds. Okay. Again, that's kind of falls into an acute condition and bleeding. Device is not recommended for pregnant women during menstruation, acute diseases, people or pets with congenital heart and heart diseases. If someone has a congenital heart disease they're being medicated for, it's very severe, or a pet, do not wand them. Give them the water and that's it. The heart is going to work hard in detox, and you don't want to overdo it, and you don't want to put them into too much stress. There was a case of a dog that had a congenital heart defect, and they were wanding over the heart and it made the dog worse. Okay, so that's where you have to be careful. You don't want to wand over a severe heart condition like that. You need to build up that animal or person first and ensure that they're cleansed enough, and gently so. And again, the water should be completely safe and should not contraindicate, but blowing directly on the body is just too intense for those cases, and especially over those areas is a no-no. Objects, implanted electronics. So if you have any electronic gadgets, microchips, please tell me you're not doing that to yourself. Don't want that. Okay. Open wounds and fractures. All humans, all animals can use. This is just talking about why we don't. For pregnant women or menstruation, the terahertz frequencies increase blood flow and increase detoxification pathways. You don't do that. While pregnant, increased blood movement is contraindicated in pregnancy, especially in early stages. During menses, you do not want to increase blood loss. So that's why you just do the wanded water. The wand penetrates 20 to 30 centimeters deep, by the way. So it can be affected front or back, basically going through you. Acute means something that comes up suddenly as an emergency or a rapid healing expression. This situation must be properly assessed and managed. The wand is not a heal-all. As I said, it's a healing tool and cannot be substituted for other needed care for serious or life-threatening emergencies such as heart attack, stroke, heart irregularities, serious breathing difficulties, asthma attack, sudden bleeding, and being under the influence of recreational drugs or alcohol. People or pets with congenital heart and heart diseases in a serious weakened heart or heart with abnormal structure, for example, and large valves, it can cause a negative effect by way of potentially more leaking, what they're saying. It can cause tissue changes, which can have a negative effect if you already have large valves not indicated. In animals with heart conditions, give only wanded water. As a general rule, do not wand directly over the heart, as I said. Ensure to follow proper protocols by drinking the water. The detoxification pathways, as all the points are open, increase magnesium levels, and limit wanding time, especially if any medication is also being used. Objects implanted. The device should not be used on any areas where metal devices have been implanted, as the frequencies will heat this up. Pacemakers must not be wanded, and they may heat up and disrupt the rhythm. Open wounds, they could bleed more, right? Because you're heating things up. You don't want to do that. Same with DMSO. You don't use DMSO on an open, bloody wound. You wait till everything's clotted, settle down before you start using it. Those with the fracture should avoid using the device, as when a bone is broken, there's a risk of fatty tissue from the bone marrow leaking into the blood. It doesn't always cause problems, but it's just, let's be safe. Okay, let's just not take that risk that bone marrow could be introduced into a more open bloodstream by wanding. And size matters and progression of cases. Little bodies need less wanding, so children, animals. Never wand the spine for any length of time in small animals, and avoid any spinal areas linked to organs that you are not to wand. If the disease has progressed too far, the wand may not turn the situation around. In these cases, the wand can help alleviate pain and discomfort in palliative settings. Holy spelling errors, man. This is what happens when I'm rushing to do too many things and everyone's pressuring me for the presentation. This is what you get. Hope you're happy. Blend with well-rounded natural protocols and use the wand as a support tool. Okay, this is mine, and this is me wanding my water. This is the best thing ever. This is a hairdryer stand, and it is a game changer. You put the wand in the stand, and I just actually keep it there. It's called an Immersis hair dryer stand, 360-degree rotating lazy hair dryer stand, hands-free with heavy base. You do want it should have a heavy base because you don't want it to tip over. And yeah, be careful not to drop, as the crystals can easily break. It's less risk with the Pro wand. They're more sturdy, so if you drop it, it's not doom and gloom. Okay, we're going to get into testimonials. But first, I have to do something. So now I'm going to have to do a part 2. So stand by. Okay, part 2, which is iTeracare light wave wand testimonials. You ready? I want to give a couple of testimonials from myself that I didn't do in the first part of the video. One is that when I started wanding with the general protocol, and then over the damage that I have to my dental areas as well, and sinuses, as well as over my shoulder, where I have an issue with the shoulder. And in doing the face and this area, I started to get arthritis in my thumb. Now, I did have an old injury to my wrist, and it pretty much would only come up every so often. Maybe I'd been working in the garden too much, and I'd get a little bit of inflammation, a little bit of pain. Nothing too major, but this was really stubborn. This was really painful, and it was running up my thumb, and I could actually not even pick up items. That's how severe the arthritis was coming into my thumb. And I realized I was mobilizing waste, probably from the shoulder. And because I already have a lymphatic congestion problem that as well I was working on, the buildup was settling into that particular joint. I thought, okay, I'm not going to treat it. I'm just going to do wand because I want to see how long this lasts for. Because I know a lot of people who do this, they will get detox symptoms. And that's why you have to start very, very slow. And you just start drinking the wanded water. You don't just go in full protocol. It wasn't fading. I was just continuing to use it. I was wanding the area as well, and it was just sort of stuck. So this can happen where wastes are getting settled and stuck and maybe calcified or trapped in tissues. The wand may not be helpful for that area, meaning that because the whole body is in detox mode, it can't keep up with the wastes. Wanding it more might not necessarily get rid of it. Now, maybe if I continued on, it would have, but by that point, I really needed to pick up items. And I went to my tried and true castor oil. That's one of my favorites for arthritis or anything where wastes are getting stuck into a joint cavity, knees, ankles, wrists, etc. So I rubbed castor oil on, I think, twice, 2 different days, and it was gone after that. And it cleared and metabolized and got out of my systems. If that is an issue for you, where you start wanting and you get little bits of achiness or arthritis or sore spots, then I suggest getting the castor oil out and rubbing it on, and perhaps doing a coffee enema, upping your magnesium, and make sure that your detox game is up, because this will detox you, and sometimes fast. And a lot of people really feel unwell when they first start using the wand, because it's mobilizing all these wastes out of their body. And if the emunctories or the organs of excretion are not properly functioning or optimized, or your nutrition's not optimized to do the job, then it will settle. It will stay in you and it will go elsewhere. So you really want to pay attention to that and make sure you're drinking enough water and eating properly as well, to have the full effect without the detox symptoms really creeping up on you. People might get fatigued or whatever. I mean, for me, I got a lot more energy. I did not feel fatigued from it, but it's different for different people. So just keep that in mind. Then the other amazing, and I'm very thankful, I can't tell you how thankful I am for this wand. A year ago, I was at my store and a woman came in to pick up her items, and she wanted to meet me really bad. She wanted me to meet her daughter as well. And she gave me a big hug when she was about to leave. And she said she was traveling back to her country and that she had to get vaccinated in order to go home, and that she had just got the shot. The following morning, I woke up without taste and smell. Gone. No other symptoms, no congestion, no fever, nothing of sickness, because that's not how sickness is transmitted anyway. But I lost my taste and I knew about the loss of taste and smell phenomenon that had been going on. And here I was with it. And I thought, okay, well, this shouldn't last. It's probably just a temporary effect, because I know one of the things I teach is about pheromonal transfer. And so when someone is really warped inside their own hormone system, like we all put out pheromones, and the pheromones can be damaged. And what do they do to us is the question. How do they affect us when you have pheromonal damage to that level? What does it do to some of our senses? And my theory is that it's the pheromones that are going up the vomeronasal system and blocking it, or causing the nervous system to go haywire or be confused and act as if it's saying, no, don't come in. We don't want you to ingest whatever this is, or we don't want this in your body. It got me down that road of research, which was really fascinating. For my path, it seems to always be in the wounded healer path. I get these things so I can learn and understand. Wouldn't go away. I tried inhaling essential oils. I tried neti pots. I was upping my coffee enemas. I was making sure my magnesium was high. I was taking certain types of supplements like NAC and extra vitamin C and this sort of thing, just trying to play around with what will fix this. And the worst is that it's not even that you lose the taste and smell so much, but whatever sort of comes back makes everything smell like garbage or rotten or warped. I think what happens is, as it's healing, you will smell rotten things. It will allow you to smell things that are bad or rotten because it wants to avoid you from ingesting that. And if you can't smell that it's off, then that's a risk, right? So that seems to be the first stage that heals, is this the part where you smell garbage or nasty stuff. Anyway, or even unfortunately, some of the things you would smell maybe good or would be fine also smell a little bit warped. That was disconcerting, because I like to cook. I like to really make beautiful meals and this sort of thing for my family, and I felt cut off from that. When I got the wand, still not regained my taste and smell. And after about, I think, 3 weeks or so, I started to notice it. I think I'm tasting my food a little bit better. I think I'm smelling things a little bit better. And I just kept wanting the face. And I'm almost there now. I'm almost 100% back to my normal taste and smell. And the only thing that has worked to regain that anosmia, lack of taste and smell phenomenon. And this is in someone who's healthy, who eats well, who takes care of herself. This happened. This means whatever they've done to these people has really created their energy field and their hormone systems really mucked with it to a point where it can affect other people. And I've had a lot of people have miscarriages, getting crazy periods and clots and all sorts of things just by being around the vaccinated, and they're completely unvaccinated. So we know there's influence. Fat reduction. Here's someone who said that they're surprised how much fat they're shedding with this device. Every morning I get out of bed and feel like more has dropped off. I'm fitting back into clothes I thought I'd need to throw or give away. It is a deeply detoxifying device, and I feel like I'm only just coming out of the detox haze after a month of use. But at the same time, I felt so much lighter physically and mentally, emotionally. I don't follow any special protocols. I mainly use it over my abdomen area to get deep into the organs and pelvic region and on my head and face, yet I'm shedding fat from all over. Amazing tool. I tend to play down my own stuff. I don't know why. I just do that. I'm like, oh yeah, I had a swollen spleen. Oh yeah, I had a tumor. No big deal. I healed it. It's fine. Which I did back at, 10 years ago. I had a tumor growing behind my brain into my eye, and I healed that with coffee enemas and juicing. But that's another story. As well, I was having spleen problems with my lymphatic system, and all the spleen inflammation I had is gone too. So that's a big one. This one's about thyroid. Okay, some amazing results. Just another small testimony, but a huge difference in my life. I have a string of diseases, but this little red wand is changing my life. My last thyroid blood count was 14, needs to be under 4, and today I got my new results back. It's 7.5. I have struggled to get it down for 2 years. Nothing has helped. Just keep going. Just to add what I did, I always drink charged water every day. I use the wand daily on the problem areas. Here's a testimonial for menstrual pain. Hello, beautiful healers. My daughter woke up today with excruciating cramps, doubled over and crying in pain. After 10 minutes with the wand, she had 0 pain. What a gift to get rid of your child's pain. I'm so very grateful for this device and community. Love to all. Now, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of testimonials here. I've just chosen a handful of them that I thought were really helpful and relevant. Here's a testimonial for a leaky cornea. My dad has a leaky cornea and has been waiting for a transplant. This will be at least 12 months away. His eye fills up with fluid and he can't see properly until around 3 or 4 p.m. each day. Used the wand twice for about 10 minutes each time. And he no longer has leaky cornea. Amazing. He told the consultant to keep him on the waiting list in case it comes back. However, I ordered one for him from the UK stockist on Thursday. So she's saying a wand. And it arrived today, so he won't need to go through with his invasive operation if he keeps using it a couple times a week. That's pretty profound. Here's a chronic pain testimonial. After the day of being really sore all over, I woke up yesterday feeling better than I felt in 20 years. I had so much energy and had minimal pain. I had a work injury that ruptured discs in my lower back and neck. This injury also resulted in bursitis in my knee and floating patellar syndrome. I also have arthritis in my lower back where the discs were ruptured. I've had chronic pain that takes me out of living normally. With my newfound energy and less pain, I was able to clean my house for several hours. I swept and mopped my living room, kitchen, dining room, and bathroom, cleaned my coffee table, dusted, did the dishes, cleaned the counters, and cleared food out of my refrigerator. My refrigerator died last night after I'd cleaned everything. Okay. This may seem weird that I'm excited about this, but it's just one of those chores would have hurt like crazy before. Just doing the dishes was agonizing for many years. Granted, I am a little sore this morning, but it's not bad. I think if I didn't have to clean the refrigerator out, I wouldn't have been sore. I will do a little stretching and use the wand again. I've used the wand for 6 days. So this is 6 days. Chronic pain for 20 years, and within 6 days, she's up and cleaning her house. I feel like I can live again. I am not completely out of pain, but this is an excellent start to my healing journey. I love this wand. Here's some hair shedding, which we see a lot with hormone problems, imbalances, and also from shots and stress too. And menopause will also lead to that. For as long as I can remember, my hair has fallen out. I would leave strands of hair everywhere I went. I'd have to clear the shower drain every other day just so it wouldn't clog with my hair. Not a nice task. This past year, my hair has gotten so fine and wispy that it was almost unmanageable. Well, I just realized I'm not shedding hair anymore. Nothing, not a zip. My hair is staying intact on my scalp. How awesome is that? I love my wand. Skin tags. Yeah, skin tags. Fascinating. It'll just sort of dry up and fall off. Proof of something wonderful happening. In 2012, I got breast implants, purely vanity. In 2020, after I found out how genuinely dangerous they are, I had them removed, which is called an explant. The surgeon that did it where I lived didn't do the procedure the best or safest way, but the cost was covered by my health care. I wasn't experiencing any obvious symptoms of toxicity, but I knew I was slowly being poisoned. So I decided to save 10K and go this route. Since explant, I have grown many skin tags under and on the sides of my breasts. I assume this was a sign of toxic mutated cells from the explant, which would have dumped any toxins being held in a capsule my body grew around the implant to protect it from foreign objects into the body. I'm away on holidays camping, so not super diligent with taking time to wand in a relaxed manner, but I drink my warm wanded water before and after and wand my upper lymphatic area as well as my liver around my breasts, and the skin tags are turning red, then drying up and falling off. Here's a testimonial for stage 3 kidney disease. Okay, I'll talk about my kidneys. Several of you have asked me to tell you. I was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney disease over 10 years ago, and they've managed to stay at a stage 3 to this day. I started using the wand about 6 weeks ago, mainly for kidneys to heal. About a week into doing the wand, I had a scheduled nephrologist appointment. He told me my numbers went up a bit, meaning going in the right direction. I told him about the wand and what I was doing. I mentioned I would love to come see him in a month, but my insurance wouldn't pay for it. He told me he could have me back in 3 months, and he wants to see for himself if there are improvements. Well, let me tell you the exciting news. Before using the wand, my urine was getting less and less, and I was getting worried. Dialysis doesn't sound fun. Fast forward to today, my stream is stronger and for a longer time. Plus, there's no foam bubbles in the toilet after I go. The foam is a sign of protein in the urine, which is bad. So now I know that beautiful red gift from God wand is working. I can't wait for 2 more months when I get great news. I'm going to post these results everywhere as I praise God for bringing this into my life. I mean, stage 3 kidney disease, man. Okay. Leg numbness. I went through a heart valve replacement operation about 8 years ago, and I've been recovering ever since. I've been needing to use a walker for the whole time, and I've worked to try to get past using the walker and now using the frequency whine. I think he meant wand. I'm working much better now without the aid of the walker, and I've actually gotten much more feeling back in my legs, especially my left leg, which has had numbness for a very long time, even before the operation. I can feel the difference in circulation in my whole body. I feel a warmth created by the increase in circulation, and I'm sure it's the activation of the stem cells as well. I didn't expect it to be overnight, but it's amazingly fast and the way it's been helping me. This is animals. Oh yeah, and so that last one here, he's had a heart valve replacement that's actually contraindicated for direct wanding, just so you know, over that area, but you can wand elsewhere on the body with no problem. Update on our 14-year-old Kitty. Thank you for all the kindness on my last post. Kitty is doing remarkable since we started charging her food and water. We wand her several times a week. When we started, she was struggling with an upper respiratory illness and diagnosed with heartworms. The vet basically gave her a couple of weeks, and we struggled putting her down. Now, after about 3 weeks of treatments, Kitty no longer coughs. She climbs up and down stairs daily. She sleeps without wheezing, and she is no longer choking on parasites. It really has been a miracle. Kitty is going strong and appears to be regaining full health and becoming youthful again. Very good. They were about to put that animal down. That's where it was, and back to normal now with just using the wand on water and food, not even wanding the cat directly. This is for a dog. Today is a good day. My doggy was diagnosed with spleen stomach cancer. He wasn't able to poop. He didn't poop in a week. He kept his tail stuck between his legs. His arthritis in the hips had him have problems to get up. He would get up, but legs shaking. I got the wand last night and did his first treatment. To my surprise, today I took him outside, pooped a lot, was shaking his tail, and even walked a bit longer on his own. That's a start. It's a great start. Here's an anti-aging testimonial. Many of you have seen my testimony. It's a miracle, really. Today I'm posting some unedited makeup-free photos. I'm sure you will be shocked at how different I look. It's coming to my attention with a lot of the comments that people think this has to do with wanding my face and anti-aging. 14 weeks ago, I could not walk unassisted from a walker and was dying from mold exposure in my home. Notice the shape of my face changed. My skin tone was different and my face drooped as though I had had a stroke. Previously vaccine injured in 2009 with multiple autoimmune issues, left me extremely vulnerable to the mold. Search my name to see all my testimonies. So here she is. She just looks vibrant, and she also looks very happy, which is a big difference too. And there's lots more pictures on the Facebook page for the testimonial group if you want to take a look or ask her any questions. Testimonial: complications of surgery. My sister had a hysterectomy, which led to a complication and then a second surgery, only to have a third. I sent her a wand and she did it each day. Plus, I distantly wanded her while it was still on the way. Yes, we're going to talk about that a little bit. You can actually wand at a distance, just like you can use Rife machines by taking a DNA sample and sending the frequencies to the DNA sample, because this is a non-local place. It has been long proven with physics. A lot of people are actually wanding pictures of people and intentionally sending them the frequencies to the picture of the person, and it works, which is, I know people are going, what? But this is a truth. This is a scientific fact that this happens. For example, with my Rife machine frequencies, I can take a picture of someone, even write their name on it, put it in the chamber and send the frequencies to the picture, and it will send it to them as well, which goes back to sort of the adage of the photographs stealing your soul, which I don't think it steals your soul, but what I think it meant is that your image can be used in this way. Your image actually has the connection to you specifically, somehow vibrationally. And I'm excited to see really in the future how we uncover the truth about how this place really works energetically, vibrationally, with frequency and so forth, that this is all this place really is frequency palace. She canceled her fourth surgery. So she distantly wanded her first and then sent her a wand. So I don't know the details of the length of wanding, how much she distantly wanded. But again, if you want to go in and ask some questions, you're welcome to do that. But fascinating, isn't it? Multiple effects testimony. Hi, everyone. I thought I'd give some feedback on my experience with the wand. I have the classic wand. Now, most people do use the classic wand because it's the most affordable model, but not everyone. I've been drinking wanded water and wanding parts of my body where I have issues. Number one, first difference is my right side of my chest. I had a mastectomy 5 years ago and a full lymph node removal. Since then, I've been numb on my left side and top of my left arm. Since wanding, I can now feel all those areas. Before, I would have an itch and not be able to find it due to nerve damage. Oh, that's torturous. Now I have full feeling. Second, I've wanded my head. Hair was thin due to treatment. I now have new baby hair growing. The cellulite on my thighs seems to be much less than before. The skin seems tighter and much softer. And being that cellulite is really a toxicity buildup and also a fascial puckering, so damage to the fascia. Fascia actually has an interesting role as a biophotonic, for lack of a better term, light emitter. So we actually emit light, we can measure this. And the fascia seems to be part of that structure where it's part of the light emitting aspect. The fascia is like a sheet that goes throughout your entire body. And when that buckles or when you have nodes in that, then that causes all kinds of problems inside the body and pain syndromes and this sort of thing, and creates cellulite as well. It's interesting that a frequency device is healing cellulite, which tells me it's also supporting and healing fascia. And of course, we know it already does detox. I have cancerous tumors in my right hip. Well, this person's kind of a mess. You know why they have cancerous tumors in the right hip? Because they already had cancer before of the breast. And when you have cancer, it's actually a metabolic disease. It has really not much to do with the tumor. And of course, the medical mafia banks on your ignorance and their own ignorance into health. And they think cutting out the tumor is getting rid of cancer, and it's not. And it will always invariably either come back, the mechanism will come back because the tumor is actually the healing phase part. Seems like they get cancer elsewhere, but it's really the same phenomenon in the body because there's no separation. It's one body that has one situation going on and they're all interconnected. My pain and stiffness seems to have improved. No evidence on the actual tumors yet, but I will have a scan soon, so we'll understand. 2 years ago, I could barely walk, and this weekend I'm running a half marathon. Never give up. Always have hope. Make lifestyle changes with diet, exercise, and self-work has got me to this point, as well as more recently, this amazing device. Very good. Hand injury. My mom is 86 and fell 3 weeks ago and injured her hand. I'm visiting her and wanded her yesterday all around her arm and up and down the front of her spine. I took the bandage off this morning and there was remarkable improvement over how it looked Friday night. This wand is awesome. The picture on the left was Friday night and picture Sunday morning. That's remarkable. This is open flesh, oozing, looks almost burnt, like the skin is coming off, and look at the improvement. Really phenomenal. Okay, this is a full body healing testimony. I'm new to the group, loving my classic wand. I've had it for a month. So far, my swollen ankle with possible arthritis is normal looking now. Gray hair seems to not be growing in at the normal rate. I went to the dentist and was pleasantly surprised that the gum depth pocket of one tooth that is usually a 5 was back to normal. The hygienist was shocked because that doesn't happen. I had been using it on my face for an area that had a cystic type acne forming right about where that problem gum was. Very cool. Here's another dental care testimony. Just had another amazing result. I'm 69 years old, and developed a fenestration in my gum at the base of a bottom incisor. The dentist sent me to a periodontist who wanted to do a gum graft from the roof of my mouth. Instead, I did oil pulling every day for about 10 days. It calmed down enough that the gum graft wasn't mentioned again. That was about 4 years ago. Recently, my gum became uncomfortable, and when I looked in a magnifying mirror, it was horribly red and inflamed around the base of the problem tooth. So I did my normal wanding and then pulled my lower lip down and directed the scalar waves at the root of the tooth for about 60 seconds. I knew that something that sore and red was going to take me a few days to see a difference, but I took a look anyway this morning. To my amazement, the gum is pink and firm again with no pain at all. That's after one treatment. Today I zapped it again, but I am astounded. And it's quite astounding. Hormonal imbalance testimony. Again, utterly blown away. Just turned 47 and have been struggling with periods as long as I can remember. Going in menopause with the endometriosis and cysts, and Hashimoto's was a dreadful few days around my period. Been diagnosed about 5 years ago with these horrible issues. I put a testimony up about the improvement, but this is golden. I started my period yesterday, and yes, believe this, no pain, no mood swings, no PMS, no sore breasts, no sore tummy, no cravings, no pimples on my face, no hot flashes, no not sleeping. What the heck? I'm so grateful. I'm blessed more than words can say. I thought if this encourages one person, it is worth it. I now only do water or drinks in 8 minutes in the morning. Use the wand every day for 4 months, I think. Sorry, guys, this is a girly post. Keep going. Drink the water and live life fully with joy and love. And I do notice this in the testimonies, how grateful people are, how positive people are, that they mention love and God and encouragement. It lifts the mood. You can tell by the way people are writing that they're happier, they're more content. Eye health. Okay, you're going to get sick of hearing from me, but I do the entire wanding routine a few times per week, and I also focus on some problem areas. I was wanding my eyes on the warm setting to help with a growth on my lower eyelid at the edge. My doctor said it could be burned off, but I said, forget it. So the growth has slowly but visibly shrunk to less than half its size in just 2 weeks of wanding. But here's where it gets better. I had laser eye surgery more than 20 years ago, and although my distance vision is better than 20/20, up close, I need reading glasses. I have just upped to 2.75 diopters, having found that 2.50 no longer permitted me to read very fine print. I have another pair of much weaker readers that I use when my wife and I play Scrabble. They're 2.0 and useful when playing a board game or working on the computer. When playing Scrabble, if I had to look up a word, I switched from the 2.0 glasses to the 2.75, then back again to play my letters on the board. So we played Scrabble yesterday, and halfway through the game, I realized I hadn't switched glasses, but was using the 2.0 for the book. This is crazy. I have not been able to read with glasses that weak for about 6 or 7 years. Amazing. Here's a breast lump testimony. I've got another testimony. My friend got a lump the size of a quarter on her breast. She said it hurt when pressing on it. I told her to blow on it. She did the basic protocol and then drank the wanded water. She blew on the lump for 30 minutes each day for 3 days. After 3 days, the lump was reduced to the size of a bean and it was no longer painful. She then went and got a scan on her breast, and the doctor said she is fine and to come back in a year for another checkup. She is now a believer in the wand. She had it for a month and didn't really believe it until she discovered the lump and freaked out because breast cancer runs in her family. Her sister got diagnosed with breast cancer, is undergoing radiation chemo treatment. That's unfortunate. That's called death. She is grateful for the wand and is asking me to order one for her sister in Germany. This is real people, real story. Scar healing. Good day to everyone. I wish to share something amazing to add to a long list of amazing benefits from the Terahertz wand. I wish I took a before and after picture, but I didn't. Anyway, my Irish fair-skinned husband has been a commercial fisherman and on the water for most of his life. Because of his long hours on the water and in the sun, he has many spots of skin cancer. Over the years, most have been removed, leaving numerous scars. 2 small bumps remained. Very large piece of cancer removed on the back of his neck. The doctor that removed the patch of skin made a horrible mess. It looks like someone scooped it out with a planting shovel. Horrible and ugly. This scar has been there many years. Now, only after 3 sessions with the wand on those areas, about 5 minutes each, the tissue was repaired. After the 4th session, completely healed. This scarring area has healed. Praise God. There is 1 small bump of cancer cells on his forearm. By tomorrow, that too will be healed. Dermatologists don't get our money anymore. Yeah, this puts a lot of those sham doctors out of business, which is very good. Lymph. Neck cancer, swelling and pain disappeared after terahertz treatment. My sister and her fiance Shane had a little get-together over the weekend for my nephew's birthday party. Shane invited some friends from Illinois to come celebrate. Among them was a lady named Angie. Angie dealt with pain and swelling on the right side of her neck for years. As it turns out, the pain and swelling was cancer-induced from using her cell phone. The doctors wanted to do surgery to remove it, but Angie wanted to explore the alternatives. Eventually, Angie had at least dabbled in just about every remedy she could find: diet, supplements, light therapy, lasers, sound therapy, etc. That evening of the birthday party, while we were all relaxing at my sister's place, I brought out my terahertz wand to show everyone. Angie seemed especially interested in it. I didn't know about the cancer in her neck until then. After I got done explaining what the wand does and how it works, I used it on Angie. I aimed it at her meridians and her neck where the cancer was. I also charged up a glass of water and had her drink it. The next day, I got a text from her. You can read it yourself. Hey, sorry I missed your text. I was driving back and we had a ton to do when we got home. Sean said he's not sure he feels a difference, but I had a weird result. Now, this is from one small little session at a friend's house here. We're talking. This isn't like 3-month protocol. Today is the first time in a very long time I feel like the lymph nodes on the right side of my neck weren't swollen and inflamed. That right side of my neck is usually very puffy and tender to the touch, and it's been that way for about 2 years. I noticed it last night when we got back to the hotel and I showered. There was no pain and no swelling. It's been almost 24 hours and the pain hasn't returned yet. Pretty amazing. So that is a very quick response by the body. It's like the body wants it so much. It wants to structure that water, that easy zone in the cells. And as soon as it can get the energy to charge up that battery, the healing begins. And it doesn't take long. You charge your battery, you can use the battery right away. And you can charge it for an hour and you've got your battery, right? You can see that this is what this device is doing. It is charging you. It is giving your battery life. And then your own natural healing resources and mechanisms that you have innately in you begin to move forward and take shape and do the work. And this is why we're seeing results so quickly. So here are your prices, okay? So we have Classic, Premium, and Pro. Classic is the model that most people use because that's what they can afford, which I think is incredibly affordable, to be honest, for a device. I mean, some of the devices I bought are thousands of dollars. I'm going to get a Pro wand soon, and then once I do and work with it, I'll tell you if there are any differences from my experience. I don't know if I'm going to get a premium wand. Who knows, maybe. So here, Canadian price, Australia, EU. There's stockists in all different countries through the back office when you do the ordering. So you get a link, pay, that tops up the money in the back account. Then you go in, well, I go in, or whoever is ordering for you goes in and transfers the payment to the appropriate stockist that's in your country. And these are shipping included prices. You don't have to pay extra. The only time you have to pay extra is if it comes from another country and you have duty. And sometimes you have extra shipping charges if it comes from an outside country. And that will depend on where you are, because if you don't have a stockist in your country, then you'll have to import it, and that can incur extra costs. But if you email us, we can give you the prices for wherever you are and find out if where the country, where we can get it from for you. I know I had a request from South Africa the other day and I wasn't sure where to ship that from, because on the list, it seems like there wasn't a stockist in South Africa right now. And we just got our Canadian stockist back. I think there was one in Alberta and now there's one in Saskatchewan. And that's it. We have one stockist in all of Canada. And if they run out, then I have to order them from Utah, or depending on the closest province to state, so that it's like a quicker turnaround. If it is coming outside of the country, it takes a lot longer for shipping too, which kind of is unfortunate, but it does come. Thank goodness. So if you email support@yumnaturals.net, they will give you all the information you need, and any questions that you have, they'll answer. So we did it, okay? I will still continue to research and find and grow the knowledge. I think that knowledge is always growing. We're never just arrived to our answers. We continue to dive deep into it, and I hope there's more and more emerging science when it comes to terahertz frequencies and health, and how to regain health using such frequencies, different protocols. I'm going to start blending things with DMSO in conjunction with the wand. I will continue to experiment with that in other uses and other protocols, and maybe even put some more specific protocols together for different conditions. But so far, I'm so happy about this for so many reasons. We're really coming into a new era of knowledge and awareness when it comes to health, and getting out of the age-old germ theory nonsense, poisoning with drugs and vaccines that only maim and do harm and bolster lies that feed a huge pharmaceutical industry. We can move away from this now. We can get health freedom away from these, I call them monsters, who continually lie to us and tell us that we have to cut, burn, and poison ourselves in order to have health, which makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense to drug yourself over and over again and somehow regain health, when we already understand and know that our bodies are run on water, energy, and the cofactors and minerals and nutrition that run that system, that are part of that system, and that we are energy, that we have energy fields, that we have a beautiful complexity that is elegant and not so rudimentary as this suppressive, doctors know everything kind of regime has put the propaganda down our throats for generations. We need to break free of this. This is obviously a death cult, and we want out of the death cult. And this is one of the ways that gets us out of the death cult, which is one of my passions. My passion for being here is to move us away from this insanity of suppression and giving ourselves to this death cult, sacrificing ourselves in the name of this cult. When I started, I was a new mom, and I focused on mom and baby products, and I started making my own skincare line, because everything I was finding for my baby, like I wanted a diaper rash cream, for example, and a sunscreen, it was greenwashed. It wasn't even pure. I wanted pure. I didn't want little bits of baby. I wanted to know exactly what was going to go on my baby's body. And so I started to design these things myself and continue to grow and create. I understand that we are abundant beings. A lot of people might feel constricted, like, oh, that's too much money for me right now, that sort of thing. But understand that that's programming. That's programming of lack, that you don't have enough, so you can't. I can't, I won't. It's a negative thinking pattern. And you get out of that. You can get out of that. You just have to shift and believe in your own abilities, your own self, but also understand that we are meant to grow and learn and gain and be in joy and have these experiences. And yes, maybe we needed the negative experiences to realize that and have gratitude and these sorts of gifts that come from lack, understandably, but that you're not meant to stay in the lack mentality, in the poverty consciousness. A lot of people can run this business too, run this as a business. And we do have a lot of resources for that. So if that interests you, maybe you're out of work, a lot of people are out of work, or you need to work from home because you're raising a small child and you don't want to put them in the system. You want to breastfeed them till they're 3 years old. I did that. After you've bought your one, and if you start, people want them and you're selling them like that, you already have money. You make all this money. So then it's just sitting in the account. And so you just pay your monthly from that, like it's free. You know, it's free money, basically. A lot of people just fall into it naturally like I did. I really had no forethought about it, other than I was a little bit miffed about the structure, but I kind of understand it now from their perspective, from Prife, because they're trying to make sure that they don't have knockoffs happening. And they also want to just funnel it through their system. They don't want it selling on Amazon or selling all over the place. I see lucrative business opportunity for people, a product that's incredible. I don't know. There's just not one red flag. I didn't feel any red flags. And I was totally felt ethically. I felt very ethically, morally. I felt like this was okay. It was right. I got a green light. So that when I get a green light, I go for it. And that's that. So there it is. Thank you. Thank you for sticking by this presentation. I know there's a lot of information, and that's the tip of the iceberg. I could probably do another video just at the same length as this. For now, we'll leave it. And if you have questions, please just drop us an email at the email I mentioned, which is support@yumnaturals.net. And just put in the description, like interested in wand or interested in information about wand. If you're interested in any of the other products and things that I've made or bring in that are of high quality that I've tested myself and tested on lots and lots, hundreds and hundreds of clients over the last 15 years, then you can go to yumnaturals.store. I have my DMSO line, DMSO blended skincare line, and related products at dmso.store. If you're interested in my book, it's healingwithdmso.com, but it's also available on those other websites I mentioned. And Telegram channel is Healthy Dose of Truth. As well, you can go into there and ask questions about the wand or clarifications about the wand or protocols and stuff. So that can be also a great resource. And Amanda Vollmer, AMANDHA is the way I spell my first name, also on Telegram and Instagram and Twitter and all those kinds of places. So hope to see you at some point. And thanks again for joining me. Have a great, wonderful day, and know that there are solutions everywhere for all of the issues that you face. Free your mind from the constrictions and know that you are worthy. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.